Coming off of last week's episode with the Holy Sword and all the gags that last week's episode had, I knew this week was not going to live up to last week. It was just impossible. That joke, the comedic timing, everything about last week, I doubt we'll see an episode, at least in my opinion, that's going to top that. Maybe we will, but I knew we weren't going to have something like that this episode. So in some ways, this could feel like an underwhelming episode in terms of comedy, because it only really made me laugh in the last third of the episode, with all of the antics, with Darkness pretty much having a horde of these beasts running towards her, and the whole gags with Cosmo just apologizing to the people in the wagon, and also the rock, paper, scissors game against Aqua and Cosmo. That stuff did have me laughing, but the first 2/3, though it wasn't really that funny to me, it still was entertaining, though I will say this might be my least favorite episode so far for season 2 of KonoSuba. Nothing really about it felt bad, it just felt like nothing really kind of jaw-droppingly funny happened, kind of a thing. But it was entertaining nonetheless. I thought this was a pretty mildly entertaining episode, mainly because Cosmo is just kind of sitting on cloud 9 right now. He just has this ability to essentially not go on quests, not do anything dangerous, because he can just make these models or these pieces of equipment from his own world, and this masked man will literally just pay him for it. Either he can get like $300 million in this currency from this world straight out, and then he just sells the product, or he can have like $1 million a month, depending on how everything sells. So this guy's literally set. He doesn't have to go hunting, but then Aqua's like, but we still do have to kill like this demon king here. We can't just do anything or I'm kind of screwed. So he pretty much says, well, why don't we just pay people to do it for us? So that stuff was entertaining. It just didn't have me laughing out loud. But I thought it was a pretty interesting episode watching. The only one who really was in a level head this week was Megami, because she comes back and is just seeing all of the characters just smug and rich. Like there's just this wealth just floating around. In terms of Darkness, she wants Cosmo to become even more kind of corrupt and smug, because she wants to see how twisted and how sick of a man he will become. And then Aqua and Cosmo, they just don't want to do shit all day. So it was pretty interesting and entertaining watching that dynamic. Just nothing really insane happened this episode to really make me think this was hilariously insane like last week. But it was pretty interesting nonetheless. I really did like, though, as mentioned, the last third of the episode when pretty much one of them has to not ride in the wagon, or they have to ride in the back, not on a seat. And Cosmo somehow has this insane luck stat when it comes to rock, paper, scissors, where he can just always win. And I thought that was actually pretty damn funny, just watching the facial reactions and just Aqua break more and more throughout those rock, paper, scissors games. But the Darkness stuff, I think, definitely stole the show. I think at the very end, where Darkness is literally luring those beasts towards them, and she's just getting in the way, and all these people are thinking she's a hero, like, oh, she didn't want me to be attracted, or she didn't want my attack to then attract the enemy, so she took on these ropes. Really, she just like bondage, you know? It was just really interesting and entertaining just watching Cosmo and being like, no, it's not bravery. No, she's not a hero. I'm really, really sorry. Like, that stuff was actually pretty damn interesting. And there was definitely a couple of bumps in terms of animation that I noticed this week. You know, everyone's been bitching about the animation, and I've been very vocal about enjoying the expressions and just the freeform, but there was definitely some background shots where characters' faces looked poorly detailed, but really it was for like 10 seconds at a time, so it's not really that big of a deal, but it is something to note. But this episode was pretty good overall. I think really the last third of the episode definitely stole the show and made this a pretty solid episode overall. Like, if you remove the last third of the episode, it wasn't a bad episode, just kind of an okay episode. It was fun, it was entertaining, but nothing really laugh out loud worthy, at least for myself. Maybe some people are going to really find the stuff at the beginning hilarious. It just kind of was entertaining, at least for myself. But I'm really hoping, you know, next week, because we're going to these hot springs. Well, I mean, Cosmo's really going just so he can share a bath with everyone, but also so he can heal himself, so he can get back up and go out adventuring and things like that. So I'm really expecting some pretty funny stuff next week. I think the setup, the hot springs, something like this is going to have some funny stuff. I mean, we've had Megumin and Cosmo bathe together, and that stuff was pretty funny, so I'm expecting some funny stuff next week. But I think, you know, this didn't feel like a filler, this didn't feel like padding, it was just an okay episode overall, and that's okay. We've had a lot of funny episodes throughout this season so far, so it's okay to have an episode or two that are just okay overall, but still fun nonetheless. But I'd be interested to hear what people thought of this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just okay? And what was your favorite part of the episode? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and before you leave, hit that like button to share your support, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.